RadioNOW 100.9's Indy Connection with Emily Metheny.
Hello, I'm Emily Metheny, your host. This week, I had a chance to talk with actor LaKesha Lorene about her performance in the Indiana Repertory Theater's current production of T.J. Young's No. 6, presented by PNC. This play is streaming now until April 4th through irtlive.com. To give a little background of the play, the synopsis reads, as citywide riots approach their neighborhood, a black family shelters in their apartment above the small dry cleaning business they own. When they find themselves protecting an intoxicated white man from the street, tensions inside the apartment amplify and his secrets are revealed. Inspired by the killing of a young black man by Cincinnati police in 2001, the play bears witness to the ongoing violence against black citizens while reaching for the possibility of hope. During our conversation, we talk about the experience the cast had during rehearsal while following all safety protocols, performing a show where opening night is also closing night, the themes and conversations the audience can take away from the story, and much more. To start, LaKesha Lorene talks about her experience in acting before talking about what it was like working on No. 6's production.
I started acting when I was really young. My mom put me in a Beef and Boards play at 8 years old, and then through college, and then after college, I just continued to do stage work, commercial work, and conflict resolution films, working with the Sanders group here in Indy, and then I went to school out of state before coming to Indy for 1 year, but I went to TSU. So yeah, just really kind of been immersed in the arts since a really young age, and then growing into adulthood, just continue to take steps to move forward into just more work in realms in commercial and TV as well.
And currently, you're part of the production at the Indiana Repertory Theatre No. 6. Can you talk a little bit about the play and then how it's different than some that you've done before?
Yeah. So, I'm really excited to be a part of, the inclusion series, No. 6 by T.J. Young at the IRT. The play is really important. It's an important piece of work. It really touches on the realities of living in the times that we live in right now. There's a lot of things that are very heightened in media when it comes to race relations, when it comes to the disparities between what happens to those who have injustices happen to them when they're black or brown, as opposed to those who aren't. And it just really kind of hits those issues head on in an intimate way through this family and how they're navigating the real events that happened in 2001 Cincinnati.
And we've seen, since 2001, we've seen this happen again and again. Even when this play was written, it was about 10 years ago the play was written, correct? Right,
yep.
We're seeing it. It's a continuation.
Yeah, it's just been a cycle, and it's funny. We did a talk back for the IRT because normally we do these in person, but we did a virtual talk back with the whole cast and our dramaturg. And these things have been happening in the press with these new news cycles that we've noticed. Since social media has become a legitimate news source, these 24-hour news cycles that we have now, it's more present and in your face, but these things have been happening for centuries. And now that they're being documented and people are sharing and the word is out more, seeing these images and hearing these stories, it's even more devastating that we keep having to have this conversation. But it's even more important that we do continue to have the conversation so people are inspired to do more so this doesn't have to happen again, over the next few years, that things actually start to get better.
Mm-hmm. And what does it mean to you to be part of this production that's happening currently and as part of the inclusion series with the IRT?
Yeah, it means a lot to me to be a part of this production. I really, I'm always drawn to just really good stories and always interested in kind of embodying a character totally different than myself. Felicia, she's a high-functioning autistic woman, so there's so many facets to so many things. So I think what's so important to me as an artist is to be a part of work that is art and activism. And sometimes those include dramas that are very steeped in the harsh realities of everyday life, which this play really delves in and talks about. And then some of those things can also, on the other side, be just Black joy. This one has a mix of that. There is some joy, there is some lightheartedness, even though we do touch on a very sensitive and serious topic.
This play is completely virtual. Can you tell me a little bit about the experience of doing a virtual play?
Yeah, so this is a new thing for theater. Working through a SAG contract and taking the live theater experience and then transferring it to the virtual experience. So it was just really cool. It was new for all of us. I think this is the third play in the 2021 series that has been taped and streamed. We challenged each other in the way to try to, and our director, Dewandra Lampkin, kept, the importance of energy in our minds, because normally we feed off of the energy of the audience, but we didn't have one. We didn't have one, really. We just had the crew, which is a lot less at the IRT than a normal audience. So, yeah, we had to try to figure out ways to feed off of each other to still get the same energy of a play, even though people will experience it, on screen, I guess, if that makes sense.
And is it different to perform for a screen than it is to do it for in person?
Normally it is, because WFYI, they filmed and edited the play, which was done as an open and a close, which is very different as well. Usually, on stage we have, 16 or so shows. And this time, our opening night, I did air quotes, you can't see me, but our opening night was also closing night. So it was just really different and really cool, but there were multiple cameras, so we didn't have to worry about playing so much to the camera like you would if it was, an actual TV show or an actual film. So that was a lot easier. We were able to kind of, maximize blocking, but it still felt like a play. We just happened to be filmed.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes to the rehearsing, did you do the rehearsing in person, or was it done virtually as well?
Yeah, so the IRT did a really great job of just making sure everyone felt safe and felt comfortable. So our first few rehearsal dates, they were all done via Zoom. Mm-hmm. So we didn't meet in person until like the next week, like 3 days after. We got tested every 3 days before coming into the rehearsal room. So I think what was different was the incorporation of Zoom, and then having to be aware of social distancing and masks while we rehearsed. And then we didn't really unmask until it was time for the final, tech week of performances. So that was really different too.
Mm-hmm. And so with preparing for the production, both for the subject matter and doing it virtually for a lot of it, how did you prepare for that?
Yeah, so, I prepared as normal, just was kind of dissecting the text, and then also with the added addition that we do normally for character work, there was a little bit more research involved and collaboration involved when it came to tackling my character, who I mentioned is a high-functioning autistic woman, making sure that, we stayed true to the realities of the disorder, but also showed a different side that a lot of times I feel like is misrepresented for people that are differently abled. Felicia has hopes, dreams, desires, wants. She's really smart. She has a lot going for her, but she has just some of the normal, things that she has to deal with or has to tackle differently that people who don't live with the disorder don't have to deal with, as far as reaction to sounds or the swift change in moods when she feels threatened or when something happens outside of what she's comfortable with. That part was a little different. It was really interesting to me as well. So I thought that was really cool. And we did get to actually speak with someone. Our director's student talked with the entire cast, and she's a high-functioning autistic woman who's a realtor. And speaking to her, like I said, outside of those things that she has to that she's navigated and dealt with over the years, you would have no idea that she's living with that disorder. So I thought that was really, that's always a really cool part of the process, just kind of the researching of the life that you're embodying.
And kind of going from talking about playing Felicia and talking about the subject matter, why do you think it's easier for people to understand and connect with each other when they're able to see a play or connect through art? Why do you think that's easier for people?
Yeah, I think it's easier because we act somewhat as a mirror, right? So I think artists, and especially within the field of acting, whether it's on stage or on film, when we tell these stories, we act as a mirror to people's lives. So there are some things that people won't necessarily talk about, that they think about, or they put in the back of their minds, and something within the dialogue or the scene that we do or the character makes them think about that thing that they push down, right? That thing that they don't want to address. So, I think us, storytelling, also being entertaining, informative, but it's very much like a mirror, and it allows people to open up and to critically think. A lot of times people just don't have time to do it. And when they're sitting there watching the play and then talking about it afterwards, it allows them to identify some things that, maybe they've wanted to talk about or have questions about, and just didn't take the time to do it.
Mm-hmm. And after people watch number 6, is there a way that they can have a conversation? Is there any way that people can connect after watching it?
Yeah, I know the theater. I know IRT is planning several community conversations and really getting that going. So what they can do is follow at IRT Live on Instagram, like and follow the Facebook page, Indiana Repertory Theatre, IRT on Facebook, and on Twitter as well at IRT Live. And just kind of join the conversation and, tweet and interact with the cast, tweet and interact with, the theater page, and hashtag IRT number 6, and kind of just give your feedback on some things that, maybe you even had questions about. But there's a lot of ways to engage digitally, and I know the theater is planning to continue the conversation with just more Zoom recordings with some different panels that will help continue that too.
And so if people want, because right now, PNC Presents number 6 is streaming from March 11th to April 4th. They can find tickets online at rtlive.com. And when people stream and watch it, is it whenever they want to at the stream, or is it at certain times? Kind of like how they would have different shows.
Yeah. So whenever they get their ticket, I believe they have about a week to actually stream it, and they can watch it as many times, through the entire week. That's how long the link will be available to them. So they'll have multiple chances to watch it for several days, which is actually a little different than live theater. Live theater, you get your one ticket for the one night, and if you want to go back and see it, you gotta pay for another ticket another night. So, and that way for the audience members, it's even better because you can watch it as many times as you want for $30, online or on your phone or whatever device works best for you.
And as people watch number 6 through streaming or watch it again and again, what is it that the key thing you want people to take away from this experience?
Yeah, I think the hope for the theater, I know the hope for our director, and the hope for, I can speak for myself personally as a cast member, is for us to be able to have honest conversations of understanding. I feel like the climate just in our country over the last few years, the dialogue that people have been having, it just seems like they're not able to actually listen to each other. And there's a lot of listening that happens, on stage and on the page, from the page to the stage. So I hope that people really start to listen to each other, and understand that, our experiences are very different, but who we are as people are the same. And every person's experience matters. Every person's life matters. So my hope is that people can just continue to have more honest conversations and figure out, okay, how can I be a part of this change?
And then looking ahead, once number 6 finishes in April with the Inclusion series, can you talk a little bit about what else is coming later this year?
Yeah, so there are 2 more plays in the season. Right after number 6 is Mrs. Harrison, and then we have another larger ensemble piece that's coming, because the number 6 cast, I believe, is one of the biggest casts that they've done this season. But right after, there will be 2 more plays in the season, and they continue to keep the conversation going as well. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that's cool about theater. When you leave the theater, normally, like, you go out for dinner, and you just talk about all the things that, you know, you picked up from the play. So, yeah, there are 2 more shows that people can get tickets for now on IRTLive.com. And, yeah, there's just a lot of great continued conversation to be had with those.
Where do you think that this conversation will go from here? Where do you think, after number 6 and after the next 2 plays, where do you hope this conversation will be?
Yeah, I hope this conversation, like I said, there's so much power that we as the people have that I feel like we don't leverage and we don't know. So sometimes people feel like, well, I'm not at the top of this organization, or I'm not at the top of this company. What type of change can I really do? I mean, it starts small, and the small things add to the largest things. So even when it comes to standing up for what's right, if you see, you know, racial disparities on your own job, or, you know, within the community that you live in. So speaking out and standing up and being an ally for those whose voices, in particular in the Black community, which this play addresses, have not been heard and have not been given the same level of focus that other communities have. That's really where you could start. So my hope is that when people see this, they realize the power that they have within their own network, and figure out how to utilize that for the good of, you know, their fellow brother or sister.
Excellent. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, just again, as you said, IRT's number 6 by T.J. Young, directed by Dewandra Lampkin. It's available now on IRTLive.com. Tickets are $30. You can stream after you purchase your ticket anytime within the week. So that's several days that you have a chance to watch the play as much as you would like, up until April 4. And yeah, just continue to hashtag, tweet, share online, share with us your thoughts so that we can continue to have the dialogue.
To purchase your tickets to watch number 6, you can visit IRTLive.com and then join the conversation on social media by following @IRTLive. Also, while you're there, you can find more information about the upcoming Inclusion Series productions as well. Thank you for joining me this week, and please join me again next week. If you want to reach out or have topics you would like me to cover, email me at emetheny, that's EMETHENY, @radio-one.com. Or you can hit me up at Twitter @EmilyDoesVideo. Thank you, and have a great week.
Radio Now 100.9's Indy Connection with Emily Metheny.